There's a long narrative tradition about humans trying to extend or enhance life. Oscar Wilde's 1890 novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray, is a prime example of where his portrait ages, but not him. In mythology, immortality is the possession of and gift of the gods, but many humans desire it. It's a recurring theme in literature and film right up to the present day. Powerful prosthetics feature in Peter F. Hamilton's Salvation trilogy, in which we see a mixture of both life prolongation and prosthetic enhancement. What we're now seeing is the advancement of science to make life prolongation and prosthetic enhancement a reality, although immortality is not yet possible. Just 2 years ago, at the World Government Summit in Dubai, I saw what felt like a chilling exhibition, Human 2.0, demonstrating the predicted trajectory from 2030 to 2090, starting with major physical and mental enhancements and getting to a point where, in the words of the exhibition, we would be able to explore the ability to exist outside the boundary of our own bodies. A meta body created by mapping the entirety of an individual brain and recreating it inside another form, biological, digital, or robotic, or even all three. Currently, exciting work is taking place. In addition, the intuitive control of sensors from the brain, nerves, and muscles being developed is allowing patients to control bionic limbs simply by thinking about the action they want to conduct. Elon Musk's Neuralink is also working to create an interface between machines and the brain. So science and technology will march on, and we need to be prepared for the ethical and societal implications. We now have the prospect of the rich, or those in richer societies, being able to enhance or replace parts of the human body and pay for life-extending treatments that are not available to the wider population. A recent article in the New Statesman by Bruno Massès, entitled "The Spirit of the Age: Why the Tech Billionaires Want to Leave Humanity Behind," chimed with this theme. He asserts Elon Musk would be able to use radically new technologies to extend his lifespan by centuries. The rest of us, well, tough luck. Money is the portal taking the happy few across to the technological self. There is clearly a fascination about life extension and anti-aging among billionaires: Jeff Bezos, PayPal co-founder Peter Thiel, and Oracle's Larry Ellison. Google founders Sergey Brin and Larry Page helped launch Calico, a Google subsidiary focused on combating aging in 2013. So we're heavily at risk of a divided society, indeed a divided world akin to that of the Eloi and Morlocks in H.G. Wells's Time Machine, an overclass with access to life extensions and enhancements, and an underclass without that access. With regards to the use of robotic limbs, it's not extreme to envision a world in which replacement limbs become the norm. One recent exoskeleton development, for example, reduces the physical effort of walking by 25%. Lowe's, a retail chain in the US, is already testing the use of exoskeletons to help its staff with lifting tasks. Work is being done to encourage the use of open source and low-cost 3D printed prosthetic limbs and organs and standardized interfaces to facilitate access, but prosthetics can be prohibitively expensive. If this trajectory continues, especially as what are known as senolytic drugs are developed, it will cause a societal divide, which would be very difficult to reverse. It's clear that the fusion of robotics and machines with the human body does lead to major new ethical questions. And we have nothing in the way of an ethical code or regulations to guide us. And that is even before we discuss the potential increase in intergeneration inequalities and economic and political consequences, an impact on innovation of an ever-aging population, warned of by Paul Root-Wolper, director of the Center for Ethics at Emory University in Georgia. On the other hand, what about the status of robots who may perform human acts as opposed to humans who have robotic capabilities? Here again, science fiction comes to our aid. Karel Čapek in RUR, his 1920 science fiction play, invented the word robot. In his Foundation series, Isaac Asimov posited his 3 laws of robotics, which some have used as the basis for modern ethical governance codes. On the other hand, we have the powerful, popular, and negative narrative of films like the Terminator series. There are now learned law books with titles like Robot Rules and The Reasonable Robot. There is a whole global debate taking place about AI and whether it can be a creator or inventor of intellectual property. Ben Safir robot was made a citizen of Saudi Arabia, of course. But should robots, like Adar, for instance, who's just been banned from Egypt on security grounds, have rights? There has been a significant legal debate on whether liability in AI matters could be settled by granting an AI its own legal personality. After all, in the 19th century, we did this for companies and corporate entities. The European Parliament, however, has rejected the proposal to grant legal personality for AI, stating that any legal challenges should start with a clarification that AI systems have neither legal personality or human conscience. Instead, it suggested a 2-stage liability by which operators of high-risk AI having a significant potential to cause damage, would be strictly liable for the AI's damage. And secondly, operators of any other AI would be liable on a fault-based assessment. But is this the right approach? One of the key features of modern robotics is the AI or machine learning feature, the capacity for the robot to gather data and use it to develop and make new decisions, which it has not been explicitly programmed to do. Legal liability requires a party to be responsible for the outcomes of its actions. Should a developer or user be liable where those outcomes were not necessarily foreseeable to those involved in the development or application? But if we don't give them rights or legal personality and machines acquire intelligence on a par with our own, and we begin to treat them as capable of roles usually carried out by humans, should ethics govern their treatment? Their lack of humanity may make us treat them in ways that we would simply not treat other humans. If, however, we treat them as humans, there is the risk that we become emotionally entangled with the machines. We have to conclude, I believe, therefore, that any ethical framework should be the responsibility of those who develop the robots. But there are consequences. Algorithms and machines are becoming increasingly capable and better positioned to replace more routine professional tasks. In this context, there is no more live question than whether we should insist on a human in the loop when regulating AI behavior or decisions are made. And Article 22 of the General Data Protection Regulation here in Europe gives the right for fully automated decisions to be explained, for example, especially about robots not caring. This, of course, is intimately bound up with the question of AI governance, which looms large so currently in almost every major jurisdiction. You may also ask in future how we're going to be able to distinguish between a human with implants and prosthetics and a bio-enabled robot with implanted human memory, as in my opening illustration, what you might call the Blade Runner problem. Again, we have a work in progress.